Finally, there's a better way to buy travel. It's called Upside.com. And here's why you'll love it. Every time you buy travel at Upside, you can save a ton of money. And they give you an Amazon gift card worth $100, $200, even $300 free. You see, Upside bundles your flights and hotel together for one low price. That saves money, especially in business travel. Lower prices means big savings, so they give you a free gift card. And if you travel on business overseas, you might get a $500 or $1,000 Amazon gift card. And your company will save as much or even more. Plus, with Upside, you still get all your airline miles. So if you're in the market to buy travel, you've got to check out Upside. And if you're a frequent business traveler, you can get thousands a year free. It's like, for just using Upside, you can get a new PS4 for your kids, or a set of golf clubs for yourself, or maybe a giant 65-inch flat screen for the whole family. Save big on travel and get a big gift card every trip. Check out Upside.com. That's Upside.com.
Minimum purchase applies. See site for details.
Yeah, your toilet's definitely clogged, but I think I found the problem. Sir, is this your action figure?
Yes, I sent him in to check out the pipes.
As a small business owner, you've got enough to deal with. Let the experts at Progressive insure your business so you can focus on more important things. With over 30 commercial, auto, and business coverage options, we'll build a plan that's right for you.
I got something else. Are these toy cars?
Had to send in backup.
Visit ProgressiveCommercial.com to get started. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
When I first heard cold brew, it's like, we got iced coffee, why are we doing this? Until I drank it. With cold brew, you coarse grind it and let it sit for 20 hours in cold water. The more you drink it, the more you'll start noticing the hint of chocolate. It really, really is very smooth. Then I'm hooked. I love it.
The Starbucks Norino 70 Cold Brew, a custom blend of beans, slow steeped for 20 hours. Surprisingly smooth flavor. Only at Starbucks.
Jody Avergan here. Later this year, ESPN will bring you 30 for 30 podcasts, the great film series, now a new series of sports audio documentaries. This will be big. We're finding the best stories for you right now, and to do that, we're behind the wheel of the new Mini Countryman, the biggest Mini yet. To find great stories, you have to get out into the world and follow your instincts. That's where the new Mini Countryman comes in handy. With all 4 all-wheel drive, we can chase down a story in the city, the country, and most places in between. Podcast equipment isn't very bulky, but even if you're hauling a lot of gear, there's plenty of cargo space for all your stuff, and if a few of our producers want to tag along, no problem. Mini Countryman comfortably seats 5. The Countryman may be big, but it still drives like a Mini thanks to the twin-power turbo engine. No matter what story you're chasing, the new Mini Countryman will help you find it. It's available now, and the new 30 for 30 podcasts are coming this June. Visit miniusa.com/new countryman.
Steph Curry and the Warriors take a commanding 2-0 lead over the Trailblazers. Now the series shifts to Portland for Game 3, tonight at 9:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and at 10:30 Eastern on ESPN.
Don't believe me, just watch.
Welcome back to ESPNW's The Trifecta with Spain, Jane, and Kate on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Progressive Insurance. Customers who switch to Progressive save an average of $500. Call or click today and find out if they could save you hundreds on your car insurance. We continue our NFL Nation takeover. All 32 of ESPN's NFL Nation reporters will be on this weekend covering their teams heading into the draft. And this time it's Mike Wells, ESPN NFL Nation Colts reporter, joining us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. What's going on, Mike?
Good. Hey, how are you doing this afternoon?
Good, thanks. And I'm so excited that I get to ask you a question that involves my Cubs and still have it be on topic, because the new GM of the Colts, Chris Ballard, has been meeting with Theo Epstein, and he's reading Theo Epstein's book, The Cubs Way, and trying to learn the value of leadership lessons that Epstein used on the Cubs. So talk to me about what vibe you're getting from Ballard in his first tenure with the Colts leading into this draft.
Well, the biggest thing with Chris Ballard is he wants competition, and based off what they've done so far with free agency, his goal strictly has been on the defensive side of the ball. Everybody knows what Andrew Luck can do with T.Y. Hilton. and his skilled position players. But this defense with Chuck Pagano has been flat out atrocious in 4 of his 5 seasons. So Ballard has basically, broken it down, and he's trying to mold it the way he wants, and that is younger, more athletic, more physical players, and guys who really haven't reached their potential yet because he feels like they have an upside. And that's been the biggest thing with his theme, and it goes back to Ballard reading the book about Espn with the Cubs way, changing the character of the Colts. It was all about Andrew Luck the first 5 years, but now Ballard believes he wants everybody. He doesn't want to rely on Andrew Luck. He wants everyone from the best player all the way down to the 53rd player on the roster.
Okay, but even if they don't want to rely on Andrew Luck, they still need to protect him to allow him to be the quarterback that he has shown himself to be in previous seasons. So where are the Colts in terms of picking offensive linemen? I mean, that would be something that I think most fans would assume was going to be an area of need for the Colts. Should we expect them to go there?
I would say that's not as high on the priority list because, based off what, the previous regime led by Ryan Grigson, he used 4 of his 8 draft picks last year on offensive linemen, including their first-round pick on Ryan Kelly, who started every game. So now they feel like they got a foundation there. I mean, clearly they're far from being the Dallas Cowboys when you look at the offensive line. But he feels, I was talking to Ballard yesterday at a cancer event for Chuck Pagano, a fundraiser, and Ballard says it takes a year or 2 for guys to develop and get better. And so he likes what they have in the offensive line. They still have work to do in protecting Andrew Luck, but they need pass rushers and they need a second cornerback. And through all the moves they made with the linebacker spot on defensive line, they still don't have any guys that can get to the quarterback. And if you can't get to the quarterback, it doesn't matter if it's Tom Brady or if it was Johnny Manziel playing in the NFL. That quarterback's going to have success. So they still need an outside linebacker, and they need somebody to go with Vontae Davis as the number 2 cornerback spot.
Mike, here's what's great about the trifecta. You can come on and tell us that we really need to talk about defense because that's where the Colts are going to go. We're going to ask you 3 questions about the offense. So here's the third.
I kind of got that theme. I see that already.
Exactly. That's just how we are. But I want to ask because I know that Ballard is somebody who can sometimes open the door to players who have red flags, and one of those is Joe Mixon, and Frank Gore is 34. And is there any possibility that Mixon could be considered at any point in the draft for them?
It is funny you say that. Actually, I don't mind answering this offensive question because Ballard was just asked about it yesterday. And his answer was he was asked during a radio interview that I was on with somebody else, and he said, they have not shut the door on Mixon. In fact, he said they're still doing research on him. Because the thing is, Ballard, you look at Marcus Peters in Kansas City, he had a history where he didn't finish his, had problems at the University of Washington. But Ballard spent time with him in Oakland, research, and Ballard's one of those guys, he always says, everybody's young. These guys are young. They make mistakes. They learn from them. And so it's all about doing the research, and once they get through the thorough researching of a player, if they think they can get him in the right frame of mind where he won't get in trouble off the football field, they'll take a chance. But if they feel like a player can't get, they feel like he'll be able to mature and develop on and off the football field, they'll make a pass on it. But Ballard said as of now with Mixon, they are still doing research on him.
Interesting. Really interesting stuff. Thanks so much for making time for us, Mike.
All right, you ladies have a wonderful Saturday now.
You too. Mike Wiles, the ESPN NFL Nation Colts reporter, joining us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. The Mixon stuff, he just came to a civil suit settlement with Amelia Molitor, and it's interesting to see this timing. Is this something that he did so that he could present to teams this statement from her saying that she hopes that we all move on and that he has the best of luck in his future? Do you think he timed this intentionally, guys?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's nothing... And that's not a referendum on whether or not I think he should land in an NFL team, just that no lawyer, PR person, whatever combination of team he has on his side, would not have this scheduled down to the minute by minute about when things land, how they will best reflect on Joe Mixon. And this seems to obviously be one in a line of the Joe Mixon game plan leading up to the NFL draft.
I think he's realized that even if Oklahoma wasn't going to hold him accountable, say in a real and meaningful way, that things are different now that the spotlight is the NFL. And the fact that he wasn't invited to the combine, and then you have, I think, other teams taking serious looks at his character. that if he didn't have to change his attitude about, what had happened, or if he could remain defensive about it, and I think that there was an element of defensiveness in his initial policy or apology that he released, that this apology certainly erases that, right? He's learned that he at least has to appear like he has had a change of heart on this issue in a big way, or he's going to alienate teams.
Right, and the only option now is for whatever team that does decide to take him to be open and transparent about why they believe that he's changed or what they will put into place to ensure that nothing like this happens again, and for him to not only stay out of trouble, but to appear to be, authentic and genuine in the way he feels about what has happened and what will happen going forward. I guess that's the most we can ask, assuming that, he gets that second chance, which I think he will. Coming up, year 2 for the Rams in LA. Will it get any better? Hard not to. That's next.
I always think a lot of great teams really know how to turn up the screws in the third quarter and make it a more difficult game, and that's what they did.
Steph Curry and the Warriors take games 1 and 2 at home. Now the series heads to Portland for games 3 and 4.
We got to have this one.
Can Damian Lillard and the Trailblazers tighten the series up, or will Golden State push them to the brink of elimination? Game 3 of the Warriors and Trailblazers tonight at 9:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and at 10:30 Eastern on ESPN.
Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million, what color is the White House?
I know this.
5 seconds.
Oh, switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges? That's true, Kevin. They'll allow it. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Woo! Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
This ESPN Radio 25th anniversary moment is brought to you by Citi. This week in sports history, April 16th, 2000. The New England Patriots get the biggest draft bargain in NFL history, selecting Tom Brady with the 199th overall pick on Bill Belichick's 48th birthday.
I remember the first time he met me, he called me Kyle Brady, the tight end. He said, "Hey, Kyle," and I said, "Hey, Mr. Kraft." I said, "I'm Tom Brady."
Celebrating 25 years of ESPN Radio.
The Citi Double Cash Card presents Tips for Cheering on Your Kids. Number 9, be supportive.
Hey, son, stay focused on everything I'm shouting.
You heard your father. Encouraging words filled with pressure.
Go get him. We love you, buddy. There it is.
Wouldn't it be great if everyone said what they meant? The Citi Double Cash Card does. It lets you earn double cash back with 1% when you buy and 1% as you pay. The Citi Double Cash Card. Double means double.
5 days until the NFL Draft on ESPN Radio. Dari Noka.
One of the more impressive guys that I have ever known with what he's able to do on the field, but also off of it.
John Clayton.
If the right deal is there, they'll trade him.
Bill Polian.
A unique offensive weapon for a unique offensive coach.
And Chris Canty.
I'm a defensive guy, but there's going to be a lot of offense.
Coverage begins Thursday at 7 Eastern and Friday at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Greeny, you know how to win at business?
Tell me how.
Show up early for meetings. That way everybody who's only on time looks like slackers.
Well, I got a better way to win at business.
What's that?
Instant free nights at La Quinta Inns and Suites. You can show up with no advance reservation and redeem your La Quinta Returns loyalty points for a free night that same night just by using the La Quinta app.
I feel like I'd win at business more than you.
I'd cream you at business.
Impossible. I'm undefeated at business.
Go to LQ.com now and prepare to win at business.
Stugatz here for Canadian Mist. You know what I'm looking forward to? Hanging with friends on the back deck. We'll grab the red Solo cups, pour some Canadian Mist whiskey with a splash of cola, a little crushed ice. It's so simple. There's absolutely nothing better. Whether you're making stories or telling them, it's how friends share a drink. Read about our story and get some great recipes at CanadianMist.com. Canadian Mist whiskey. Simply together, drink responsibly. Canadian Mist blended Canadian whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, Brown-Forman, Louisville, Kentucky.
Check out my latest find, a Babe Ruth autographed baseball I bought from University Archives. Okay, I'm on universityarchives.com. Abraham Lincoln, Muhammad Ali, Marilyn Monroe, Einstein, a book signed by the first 40 Super Bowl MVPs. These are unbelievable.
Own a museum-quality piece of America's history, from signed rare books and letters to other personal possessions of the most iconic figures of past and present. Go to universityarchives.com, where you can bid on truly remarkable collectibles.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. The Los Angeles Clippers will be without Blake Griffin for the rest of the NBA playoffs. Griffin suffered a right big toe injury during last night's Game 3 win against the Jazz. ESPN NBA analyst Chauncey Billups thinks the Clippers could be okay without Griffin.
They'll end up missing Blake. I mean, he's averaging 25 a game in this series. But there's one guy that they can't play without, and that's Chris Paul. I mean, Chris made every single play in that fourth quarter, whether it was a defensive stop, whether it was a rebound, whether it was a tough shot, tough assist. He made every single play to will this team to a victory. I mean, DeAndre Jordan was big time as well. But, I mean, they'll end up missing Blake Griffin. I mean, that's 25 points a game. You just don't get that from anywhere. But Chris Paul is a guy who is willing this team to get that home court advantage back.
And the Clippers have that home advantage back. They lead the series 2-1 with Game 4 tomorrow night. 4 games on the NBA playoff schedule today. The Raptors and Bucks, Game 4 in Milwaukee. The Bucks lead 2-1. The Wizards and Hawks, Game 3 in Atlanta. Washington leading 2-0. Then at 8 Eastern, we'll have a doubleheader on ESPN and the Watch ESPN app. Spurs and Grizzlies Game 4 with the Spurs up 2-1. And then Game 3 for the Warriors and Trailblazers. Golden State up 2-0. That Warriors-Blazers game also here on ESPN Radio, starting at 9:30 Eastern. Bulls point guard Rajon Rondo thinks he'll be out at least a couple of weeks with his broken right thumb. He'll be in a cast for 7 to 10 days. The Bulls lead the Celtics 2-1 in their first-round series with Game 4 set for tomorrow. On the baseball scoreboard, in the third inning in Cincinnati, the Cubs lead the Reds 7-5. Wilson Contreras with a grand slam. Anthony Rizzo with a 3-run shot for the Cubs. Twins and Tigers are underway scoreless in the first in Minnesota. Tigers first baseman Miguel Cabrera goes to the DL today with a right groin strain. And we've got baseball coming up at 3 Eastern here on ESPN Radio. The Nationals and the Mets at Citi Field.
A year ago, the first 2 picks in the NFL draft were quarterbacks. Where will Mitchell Trubisky and Deshaun Watson end up getting drafted? Mike and Mike are talking football Monday morning, starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Welcome back to ESPNW's The Trifecta with Spain, Jane, and Kate on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, presented by Progressive Insurance. New from Barbasol, the brand America trusts for a close, comfortable shave. Premium disposable razors with a pivoting head and ultra-thin blades. You're looking good, America. You're shaving with Barbasol. NFL Nation takeover continues. You'll hear all 32 NFL Nation reporters throughout the weekend here on ESPN Radio, getting you primed for the draft starting Thursday. And now we get to Alden Gonzalez, ESPN NFL Nation Rams reporter. Thanks for making time for us, Alden.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
So the Rams, obviously, there's so many things that could go better for them this year, and anyone with a heart is probably hoping that they will. Obviously, one of the biggest needs for them is a number 1 wide receiver, and they are not picking until 37. So I guess best case scenario would be for a first round receiver to fall to the second round. If there isn't a really good talent at that spot, do you think that they'll go elsewhere, or they'll take the best available?
Yeah, so I really do think that they will go elsewhere if a first round talent doesn't fall. Now, a first round talent could fall. I saw a piece from Dan Graziano today about maybe Corey Davis falling to 37th overall just because teams are scared off by his medicals. That would be amazing for the Rams, who really need a receiver. But it's really fascinating, their situation right now. If you look at their roster, they could go basically anywhere with that first pick at 37th overall. And
holes everywhere.
I know that doesn't speak very well to their situation. But you look at this roster from afar, and everybody says they need receivers, they need tight ends, they need weapons for Jared Goff. And they do. But at the very least, they at least allocated draft picks to that last year. They drafted 2 receivers and 2 tight ends last year that they need to develop. What they badly need now is some depth in their secondary, because basically every single starter that they have this coming season at cornerback and at safety is going to be a free agent a year from now. And they don't have anybody behind them that could serve as really serviceable depth. So you could easily make the case that although they need offense, they really badly need to address defensive backs. And that's why it's kind of a shame for the Rams that they don't have a first-round pick this year, because they have so many needs throughout the roster, so much need for young talent right now that it's really no telling where they can go with that second-round pick.
So the Rams are 4-12. You have Jared Goff at quarterback, which means that you have a piece to build for the future, and you have a new coach in Sean McVay. And what is his philosophy like? And is there a lot of pressure on him, just considering how much this team needs?
I don't think there's that much pressure on him because of what he's taking over. This is an offense that has not been within the top 25 over the last 8 years or so. They were last in the NFL in yards each of the last 2 years. Anything that he does with that offense is going to be an improvement. I think the pressure for Sean McVay is going to start maybe in the 2018 season, when the Rams are really trying to build momentum going into that new stadium, because I think that's what these next 2 years really are all about for the Rams. They're not going to be a playoff contending team this coming season. It may not happen in 2018 either, but their biggest task right now, especially with the Chargers here, and look, the Chargers are a better team right now. They need to grab attention of people in LA. This is their stadium, their $2.6 billion stadium opening in 2019, and they need to be relevant in this market. And the best way to be relevant in this market is winning, obviously. But you can't be both not winning and also not scoring points. You can't be a bad team that is also boring. And that's what they were last year. That's what they've been the last few years. It's just the worst possible combination in a market like this. So Sean McVay will make their offense better, and it'll be much better than it was previously. His biggest task is to